But for the most part, I'm going to be sharing my screen anyway. So I'll do that now. Okay, can you see my little CCU?
Yes, I can see it.
Thank you. Okay, so hi, we've got a great group on here, and for those who are watching the recording, welcome. I'm so grateful for those who are able to attend here with us and be present. So this class is General Psychology at Colorado Christian University. My name is Anna Vick. You all may have had the opportunity to read through my little intro, and there's all sorts of things to check out, obviously, in the announcements. But I'm a person who never thought anything about psychology until I took a psychology course in my junior year of high school. And I did attend a Christian school. And so when I took that class, I was able to really examine some different theories and ideas of psychology with the biblical perspective and Christian worldview in mind, as many of you might be doing right now, whether you're studying at the college level or even still in high school studying college level content. So when I did that, it really opened my mind to a whole new perspective and a way to view society and human functioning and interaction behavior and ourselves in connection with one another. And so I thought that was super cool and interesting. And it kind of led me down the road of the work that I do now and the research I've been able to do and the opportunity I've had to be here at CCU. So that's just a little blurb about myself. I completed my PhD 5 years ago. And I have been here at Colorado Christian University teaching courses either in person or online since before completing that PhD. So it's been just over 5.5 years I've been with CCU now. And I do my work in College of Adult and Graduate Studies, as well as now recently with the Academy. And so I've had a really good time getting to know students of all backgrounds and ages here at CCU, and everybody's got something unique and fascinating to contribute. So I'm really excited to have you all in class. So to talk a little bit about this Blackboard, I know that we have different levels of experience. So we have some people who've taken many CCU classes before. We have others who are not yet familiar with Blackboard. Basically, all of your important information, if you're here on courses, is my announcements. And you click more announcements here on the course dashboard. And you'll see worlds and worlds of information that I have sent to you. So I know it's a lot. Do take the time to look through. I'm going to let you know particularly the most important one here, I would say, is this colorful discussion announcement. Good question from Atticus about what we are doing every week and how we earn credit in this course. So one of the big ways that we can earn credit is discussions. If you're a person who feels nervous or not so thrilled about quizzes, there are some quizzes. So you can do your best on those, obviously, but you can make up kind of a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to points through these discussions, because really all you have to do is answer the questions and come up with substantial feedback for your colleagues. So these are responses that can include source citation, and that's all APA format, scripture, references. So that's required for every discussion to support your statements using the biblical perspective. And we really just need to make our initial post by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. That is Mountain Standard Time, because I know that some people are in other places, and especially over the summer, if you travel or something like that, it might feel a little confusing. So just remember, it's MST no matter what. That's Wednesday, and then everything else is due by Sunday. So for a discussion, I'm just going to look at week number 2. This week is the week 1 discussion, and it's a little bit more low key in that there's not like a frequency requirement as long as you respond at least 2 times to your colleagues. So what I'm going to do is go into week 2, which is next week, and we're going to look at a typical discussion prompt. Getting to know you is a little bit more chill and fun, like I said. But for week 2 discussion, we have these academic questions about benefits of studying human behavior, potential costs, and I want to look at frequency here. So I'm clicking on week 2 discussion. Oops. I'm clicking on the little arrow, actually. Trying to make sure. One moment, guys. I want to make sure that I'm looking in the right place. For the week 2 discussion, usually it opens up so quickly. I'm going to try to go back through. Okay, I'm gonna have to unshare my screen. Forgive me one second. So while I do that, I'm gonna pull up the rubric for this. It looks a little bit different on my side than it does on all of your sides. So I just want to make sure that I'm showing it to you in the way that is the same as yours. Okay, I was able to find it. So now I'm gonna reshare. Sorry, guys. And this is what the rubric looks like for our online discussions. Okay, so this is what I was trying to pull up earlier. This is what I was talking about for frequency. 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, or 1 day. So in order to get full credit, advanced is the highest level. It's full credit for discussions. We do need posts on 4 or more days. Okay, again, that's not the case for the getting to know you discussion. Getting to know you, we just need our initial post and at least 2 responses to others. So don't worry about that part. But I'm talking about beginning in week 2, the formal discussions going forward. So the rubric is what's going to show you what you need for this. 4 more days. So the first one has to be by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m., which is Mountain Standard Time. So obviously it's better to do it before Wednesday because it gives you more time to reply. But let's say you've got a busy week and you don't get that initial post in until Wednesday evening. Great. Okay, you made the deadline. But now we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday left in the week because every single unit ends on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So that leaves us with 4 more days. But then we need to post on every single day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that would give us 5 days total. Or we could do Wednesday night is the initial post. Thursday is another post. So that gives us 2. Friday is another one. And then let's say you're busy on Saturday, you post again on Sunday. That still gets you to 4. And 4 days or more will get you the full credit. So I hope that that didn't come off as confusing, but I just want to make sure I touch on it. What I will let you know too is if you have something going on and you can only do 3 days or only even do 2 days, this is not going to hit you so hard on credit. Okay, so full credit here is 6 points. This is all out of 30. Okay, so even if, let's say, if you posted everything on 1 day and you kind of blew through all of these requirements, you would still be getting about 2 out of the 6 points for that section. So it would only be 4 points off for frequency. So you could still earn 26 out of 30 points if you did everything else you need to do. Okay, so I'm not saying don't try for the advanced. I'm just saying it's not the end of the world if you can't hit all 4 days, but that is the frequency requirement. So does anybody present here have any questions or comments before I go back and talk about the quizzes a little bit? Does that frequency seem pretty clear for discussions? Awesome. Right. The reason for that, by the way, because it might feel kind of annoying at times is, we want to make sure we have time to reflect and respond and to talk with other people. So if we didn't have that Wednesday initial posting deadline, basically what would happen is everybody would kind of weigh in super late on Sunday night. And that doesn't make for a very good discussion because we're all tired and we don't have time to get to everybody. So these rules for frequencies stretch our discussion out throughout the week. Remember, please do cite at least one source for every discussion in APA format. That begins after the getting to know you discussions starting in week 2, and include at least one scripture reference in every discussion to support your statements using the biblical perspective. Again, discussions are a heavy part of our grade. So getting that right is really going to help you. Week 2, we have, so obviously we're here in week 1 first, and we've got the getting to know you discussion. Good job getting started on that. Okay, pretty quick, easy, and simple. Week 2 is where it really gets moving with an academic discussion next week, and we just took a look at that, as well as with a quiz. So what I'm going to do for you is, as we approach the beginning of week 2, and for any week that we have a quiz, I will release to you via announcements, and it should come through to your CCU email, a list of main focus areas for your studying. Because if I just say, hey, you have a quiz for chapters 2 and 4 and 7 and 12, and it's a, that's a lot. So I just want to give you a bullet point list, and that way you can kind of hone in on those areas. It's a little bit of a cheat sheet. So I'll make that available to everybody. Okay. So that's what you got for your quiz. Week 3, another discussion. So you'll see kind of discussion heavy, and that's kind of nice. Did you have a question, Atticus, or you just move your hand?
No, my arm has just been extended so long, it's just kind of needs to be stretched. That's what
Hey, I hear you. Awesome. Okay, so week 4, we've got another quiz. So you'll notice just as we're walking through this that each week you have 1 to 2 tasks. I think there's 1 week you're going to have 3. This is a 10-week course, so it is a little bit consolidated compared to a full semester course, but it's pretty manageable, especially if you're looking ahead. My hope is that coming to these video classes will also help, because what we're always going to do is what we're doing now, which is look ahead. Another thing that we'll be doing in these video sessions, which we're not doing today, is really kind of diving into some of the content itself. So I have some PowerPoint stuff that we can look at together and talk about theories. Today is more logistics because we are new to this. And so we can talk about what we're looking at together. So this is more about the structure of our class. Next time, moving into more of the actual course content. So for week 4, like I said, we got a quiz. Same thing. So this is 15 questions, 45 minutes, and I will send you at the start of that week or slightly beforehand a little bullet point list of what to study. So in that week, we're also going to have a paper. So we don't have a ton of papers. It's not every single week, but it's definitely a part of the course. This paper coming up in week 4 is going to be about the influence of peers on child and adolescent development versus the influence of parents and guardians. So kind of put a bug in your ear. I know it's only week 1, but it goes quickly, right? So what do you think? Do you think that kids are influenced in their personalities and their development by their peers and their friends, or by their parents and guardians, or is it both? And that's a little bit of the nature nurture, but it's also just about social influence and social learning theory in general. So what you'll be presented with here is somebody named Harris, and then obviously our course text is Bernstein. So Harris is going to tell you, hey, it's all about peer influence, and that's really what matters for kids. Bernstein's going to tell you something else. You'll be reading it, so I'm not going to spoil everything for you right now. But it's 2 different views that kind of see developmental influence differently, okay? Harris is presented to you here in a video, which you can watch, and there's a handy little transcript to your right, okay? Continue to read. You'll see for the paper here, we have prompt points, and these are our bullet points. The biggest way that I see people lose credit in papers is when they don't clearly address every prompt point. Prompt points are the ones with the little bullets. So this one says, this is just an example. Compare and contrast Harris's view to the Bernstein text. Is her view supported by psychological research? Okay, so what some people might do with this, because it's a little bit of a 2-part bullet, is they might dive into a compare and contrast and then blow past this research question and move right into their criticisms. What criticisms do you have of her theory? And then there's this part about positive highlights, but they might kind of carry on into the biblical perspective and not say anything about positive highlights. And I'm unable to give full credit to a paper where all of the points are not addressed. So that's my biggest word to you. And I know all of you have a lot of writing experience and have done this kind of research, but as we're continuing to hone our skills, please do carefully look through the prompt. A beautiful way to do this is to use headings in your paper. So for instance, for this paper, you could do a heading that says compare and contrast Harris versus Bernstein. APA format, it's a little bold heading in the center, write about it. And then Harris and psychological research. That could be another bold heading, write about it. Criticisms of the work of Harris. See what I mean? Positive highlights in the work of Harris. So headings are a really good way to organize your paper. And then there's no way for me or you or anyone to say, oh, he or she did not address criticisms, because there's a heading and it says criticisms of the work of Harris, and there's the criticism. Okay, So that I find is a really good organizational strategy. Another very important part about paper length is pages. So it'll tell you how long they're supposed to be. Make sure not to go under that and don't go more than about half a page over that. So it's crucial to be able to meet that page requirement. If the paper prompt says, oh, you need 2 to 3 pages, then you don't want to be any less than 2 full pages, and you don't want to be any more than a bit over 3 full pages. Like once you hit past 3.5 and you're getting towards 4, too much. Okay, so it's a really good skill to practice. Most of us either err on one side or the other, more likely to go for too long or to go too short in our writing. So this is good practice for us to meet right there in the middle. And the last important thing about papers is that we cite all of the required sources. So that's going to be, every paper is going to say, please cite at least 3 academic sources in addition to the course text. Okay, so course text is 1, 3 more, so that's going to be 4 total. The Bible is not going to count as an academic source unless the prompt says the Bible can be one of your academic sources. You might encounter that somewhere, but for the most part, the Bible is the biblical perspective part of the assignment, and the sources are separate from that. Okay, so that's kind of a quick rundown. We have a final paper at the end, but Atticus, good question. Credit comes from quizzes, discussions, and papers. And please join the video classes. It makes me so happy. And my hope is that it's helpful to you too. Okay, so I'll end the recording.